These are some things that an enlightened project manager would be aware of and would apply at work. And we'll talk about communication tendencies, some defensive persuasion, positions and interests, and then happiness and positive psychology. So the first one here, if we talk about communication tendencies, in general, as you know, all people have these tendencies. In general, there's one of two tendencies that you'll have in communication, and you'll either be an inductive communicator or you'll be a deductive communicator. And these are not carved in stone. It's not, you're not always deductive, always inductive. It's not that if you're one, you can't be the other. But in general, all things being equal, you'll have a tendency to go one way or the other. A deductive communicator would prefer to hear the detail first, or the point of the discussion first, and then the follow-up information afterwards. If you're an inductive communicator, it makes more sense to you to give the supporting information first, and then the detail or the point of the discussion last. Because in your mind, as an inductive communicator, how can you understand the point if I don't give you this information first? So, and that's how people generally are. My wife is a severely inductive communicator. And if I ask her a question, I will get 10 minutes of stuff before I get to the answer, and the answer may or may not be to the question that I asked. I may have to think of this again. But that's how she is. Drove me crazy for the better part of 30 years. And then once I understood it now, when she does it, I laugh about it. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I'll tell her about it, and we'll both laugh. Doesn't change anything. She still does it, but you know, that's one of the ways you can handle it. In the workplace, for instance, I could be a project manager and say I'm a deductive communicator, and Brian walks in. Brian works on my team, and Brian's an inductive communicator, but neither one of us knows this. Neither one of us has ever heard these terms. All I know is that when I see Brian come in the door, I'm thinking, oh crap, here he comes. I'm going to have to listen to 10 minutes of stuff before he gets to whatever it is he wants to tell me. And I may not say anything to Brian, but my facial expression, my mannerisms, my body language is going to project that. Brian's going to pick it up. He may not know exactly what he's picking up. All he's seeing is, God, every time I come in here to talk to Joe, he seems irritated. He's anxious. It doesn't seem like he wants to talk to me. And what's going to happen eventually is Brian's going to stop coming by. I'm going to stop getting information from Brian that's going to negatively impact my performance and how our team works. If you're an enlightened project manager, you'll be aware of this, and I'll know that, okay, Brian's deductive, and I won't get upset by that. I may, even if I have that kind of relationship with Brian, I may even discuss it with him and talk to him about it and see if we can change that. But, you know, if you're an enlightened project manager, you'll know that. Another point on the inductive-deductive thing is groups do this as well. And in general, groups of senior managers, boards of directors, groups of executives, things like that, tend to be deductive in nature. Again, if you're not aware of this and you're an inductive type person, you've got a big presentation to do, you're going to go in and you're trying to fight for the survival of your project that they want to cancel, and you go in and in your mind it makes sense, okay, I've got to go in, I've got to give them all the supporting detail and then get to the point because that's what makes sense to you. You're doing this and they're sitting there and they're getting irritated, they're getting anxious, frustrated, they may even cut you off. And all because you don't know, you're not aware of these things. So an enlightened project manager would know about this stuff and be able to utilize it. So that's one example of how you would use this kind of stuff at work. The other thing is defensive persuasion is another thing. And I use a card trick here to illustrate this for a little bit. So if I can get a volunteer out here, I need somebody that knows what's in a deck of cards. You don't have to be a big card player or anything, but you have to know what's in